Good evening, everyone. Welcome along to Apex Online Racing Sprint Cup Series Season 16, brought to you by Driver61 and Patreon. We are here this evening at the wonderful Valencia circuit. First time we have been here in a very long time. Very nice to see us back here on this circuit, and we're just coming towards the end of free practice as we speak. So very soon we'll be going to quali. And we will see how the championship looks after this race in question. Just a few cars still out there doing their thing, trying to find an extra couple of milliseconds if they think they can go a bit quicker. Absolutely stacked out grid again this evening. A whopping 35 cars will be piling into turn one. But 15 minutes of qualifying to go first, and qualifying is a go, and it's already looking like a bit of a mix-up. Mixed weather, and it's raining. And who on earth has practiced for this? This is going to be a big one. Who has done any kind of wet practice? Always that thing of you think to yourself, no, I'm sure it'll stay dry. I'm not going to worry too much. But no, here we are with a very, very wet-looking circuit already. The track is greasy with increasing rain. Realistically, the drivers need to get out as quickly as possible and see what they can do. Car number 95 is our first car out there on the circuit. We will grab car number 95 in just a moment. And that is Nikola Buzov in the Sector Blitz Racing number 95 Lamborghini. And you can just see from the helicam, you can see just how wet it is already building up on the circuit. The track's only greasy at the moment. With only 13 minutes of qualifying, it is going to be super tight. Nearly everyone has now left the pit. But Buzov is going to be our first driver out there to set any kind of time. Obviously, with the circuit now being wet as well, quite a high chance that it's going to take a lap or two to really get those tyres up and working. And in fact, Buzov pulls to the side and returns to the pit. So he is no longer our first car out there. I think it is now Jonathan Clifford, the 999 car. No, it's not. It's the number 224. Car number 224 is Levent Ipek. So let's jump on to the dashboard of the screaming Ferrari for the first lap. So into turn one, Aspar. Don't want to go too wide, and immediately does go very deep there. We'll stick with him just so we can watch the first lap. So then this is turn two, Duhan. What a first of these very hard corners. Then into third. And hard on the brakes into turn four. Sweep it out wide before continuing on into turn five. Again, very difficult to not wash out too wide. Does a decent enough job there, though. Gets on the brakes for turn six. Another one of these turns, but it can really catch you out. You can get on the throttle a little bit too early. Now to down towards the flyer of turn seven. It'll be foot flat to the floor before getting on the brakes hard for the very long, but quite wide turn eight. It goes on for a long old time. Then again, down towards turn nine. Another flying left-hander before getting hard on the brakes for 11. Again, so many hairpins on this track. Lots and lots of places for big braking manoeuvres to be done. Now here comes Brave, turn 12. Herios just about holds it together. Now 13. It's super, super long. It's long, stretched out turn. You're flat on the throttle, and then you brake for turn 14 while still in the turn. Turn 14, and here we go, back on the straight to complete the lap. I'm not sure this is going to be a valid lap, but we'll have to wait and see how it goes. That was his first flying lap. It was not an official lap, sadly. So the only person out there now... Oh, there we go. They're starting to roll in as we speak. Alex Torregrossa, winning Rush GP BMW, is currently... Well, I say that. He was very briefly our leading driver. Track has now gone to greasy. So everyone will be out there desperately trying to get their laps done as quickly as possible. But for now, it's actually Alexander Novikov who has now taken away pole position. Bit of opposite lock there we saw from Toro Rosso. Be interested to see what happens with Valentine Barrier in the Honda. The Honda does go very, very nicely in the wet. But he's in the pits at the moment, or he is now finally leaving. Oh, a couple of cars off. Stick with Toro Rosso for now. BMW's looking very strong this evening. And Drake Cruz coming into third place at the moment. Blizzard has now taken away second position. Oh, going to be very close to throwing that one away. At the moment, let's see if there's anyone improving at all. Everyone at the moment seems to be gone down the order. Vidic has just put in a decent lap. We just saw him go up to 23rd position. Now, here we go. Here is Vidic. 0.3 up on his lap at the moment. The Clio Racing. Lovely looking Aston Martin. Kind of a 187. Not the hottest of pink colours, but it's a very nice pink colour. Nice and subtle. And a sort of slightly bluish wing and wheels. Oh, and abandons the lap. And nearly gets into the back of someone else that was abandoned their lap as well. That was very, very close. Right, see if we can spot anyone else that is improving. Matt York. 24th place, comes across the line, up into 23rd place. Not the biggest of improvements, but nice to see. The world's loudest Mustang flying through kind of a 65. 65 has been Matt York's racing number for as long as I can remember. And regardless of what car he's in, he is always running these beautiful liveries that he puts together for York Sport Racing. And he is still improving on his lap at the moment. I think simply due to the way the weather is going, I think it's going to be very difficult for anyone to really make big improvements. Vidic is improving significantly after, this is obviously his recovery drive. Kristen's Podens, although down in 28th place at the moment, but is improving a lot. So, still, 8 minutes of qualifying left to go. The track is now fully wet, so unlikely that anyone's going to make any big improvements at this point. Oh, and Matt York getting all kinds of out of shape. Trying to get on the throttle a little bit sooner, and I think he has thrown that one away at this point. Not going to be an improvement for him. He'll stick with him just for the remainder of this lap and see how he gets on. Oh no, and he's into the pits. Right, Vidic, we are back on board. With the soft pink. Lovely car number 187. Coming through turn 13 as we speak is 0.3 of a second up on the lap. Should be a nice little improvement. In fact, he's nearly half a second up on the lap. He was a little bit wide on the final exit, though. What can he do? Was 27th. Big sprint down towards the line. And up into 19th place. Gets himself just inside the top 20. Another driver on a big improvement here is Krzysztof Bukowski. Car number 11. Currently running in 21st place, but he is 0.3 up. And then, oh, I think we might have just cursed him there. I think another big one to keep an eye on here is going to be Eric Delfante. Currently, well, was in, I think it was 11th, but has now suddenly found himself up in pole position. Huge lap from Delfante. Just put in a 1:36.325. He is over a second quicker than Novikov. That is unbelievably fast. How on earth he managed to put that together, I have no idea. That was lap of the gods, I think, that one. So Novikov in the Like My Lap 369. Lovely Aston Martin. Just under 6 minutes of qualifying left to go. Oh, and Novikov abandons the lap. Right, is there anyone out there still improving? Chris Warner, Peak Performance, Mercedes AMG, that 111 car, still out there. And that is a difficult old car to drive in the wet, to be fair, the Mercedes. It's understeery in the dry, put it in the wet, and it is an absolute train on rails. But sadly, those rails don't follow you around the corner. They just keep going in a straight line. So, fair play for keeping that car on the go. Oh, and the BMW in front dips out the way. That was very, very close. Just about manages to avoid that. It continues on their lap. And so Buzov, who was so strong at the beginning. Oh, and as soon as we cut to him, it typically decides to call it into the pits. 4 minutes, well, just about 4 minutes left of qualifying left, so not a great deal of time. And we've got Kristen's Nottin's Digital Racing Systems Esports, the 77 car. DRS for short. Lovely put together race car, this. So I've gone with those classic lines up over the bonnet, the speed stripes, if you will. No one seemingly able to make big improvements. Alex Tarragrossa, though, has taken away pole position from Delphante. Delphante is sniffing around the idea of an improvement. Valentine Barrier is on an improvement now. We're going to jump with Barrier. Although, I think it may have already lost it. Not quite. No, the Honda going nicely in the wet. He's got a bit of traffic in front of him. Only driver inside the top 10 to be making any kind of improvements as we speak. The big shocker, really, though, is further down the list. Aidan Walsingham only running in 10th place, obviously not enjoying the wet in that number 13 McLaren. It's not doing what he wants it to. And Jardier as well, big name in the championship. Got on the Veloce boys, down in 11th place. So not going as they would have planned. Back with Valentine Barrier. We're through turn 12. Oh, goes very deep there. He's still technically improving. I think he's already backed off this lap, though. Yes, he has already backed right off the lap. Not being able to make an improvement there. Kristen's Podens for the G Liga Esports Elite team. Car number 69. Nice. Was slightly improving. 20th place at the moment. Again, Buzov just flicking in and out of an improvement. Valentine Barrier as well, looking to still make an improvement. Down to 7th place at the moment. Odin stretches his way towards the line. Was in 20th place. Is it enough of an improvement to go up any positions? It is not. Poden stays where he is. Right, Valentine Barrier. Currently about to make his way through turn 7. And here comes the Honda car. The do love the way the wet weather does shake up the top 10 quite significantly. I mean, no surprises to see Del Fante up there at all, but it is nice to see different names sneaking their way into the top 10. But Valentine Barrier, now third position. Eric Del Fante is on an improvement as well. He is, at this point, realistically, only person that can maybe possibly get past Torregrossa. Just come through turn 7. The MG ITJ setup car. Snottins and Aidan Walsingham as well on improvements. The timer goes to 0. This is it. If you haven't crossed the line, this is it. You have no more improvement chance. So realistically, the last car out there on the circuit able to finish their lap is going to be the 111 car. And that is Chris Warner. In fact, no, Chris Warner has also seen the checkered flag. So kind of a 65 realistically is the last car out there able to set a flying lap. Now sticking with Del Fante. If there is an improvement, it is absolutely minuscule and isn't even showing up on the timing board. So there might be an improvement. Is it enough to get himself onto pole position? He's pushing to the line like it might be. And no, abandons the lap and comes in. So who is left out there? Is there anyone even out there on an improvement? Matt York is still out there pushing. 30th place. He is up on his lap ever so slightly. About 0.3 up. He really quit into the entrance that corner and then seemed to lose a lot of the time on the exit. So not entirely sure what happened with his car there. But yeah, kind of a 65 is going to be our last one to try and make an improvement. Just going quiet to listen to that thing. Such a good sounding car. Was 30th. And stays in 30th position. Absolutely fantastic stuff. That was some super, super close racing all the way through qualification. And so soon we will be lighting up on the grid and we can go through as it stands. But quickly, while we are waiting for everything else, let's have a quick look at our lovely championship. Let's see what the championship is looking like. So championship wise, we are looking at Eric Del Fante in first place with 332 points. Aidan Walsingham in second with 306. Valentine Barrier, third place, 294 points. Alex Torregrossa, 249. Michael Thomas in fifth. Giardier in sixth. Remy Papin, seventh. The Lentil Yentil Van Thielen in 8th place, Alan Drake Cruz in 9th, and Christos Podens in 10th place in the championship. So let's do what we do best and let's have a read through the grid order as it stands. So Alex Torregrossa there sitting in pole position in front of Eric Del Fante, second place. Third place, Valentine Barrier. Alexander Novikov in fourth. Blizzard in fifth. Alan Drake Cruz, sixth. Michael Thomas, seventh. Znottins, eighth. The Padawan in ninth place. And rounding out the top 10 is Aidan Walsingham. Continuing on further down, 11th place, Giardier. 12th place is Van Thielen. 13th place is Machowski. Chris Vining in 14th place. Jonathan Clifford, 15th place. Giardinetto in 16th place. Van Veen in 17th place. Chris Warner, 18th place. Josh Waring. I always say that wrong every single time. Sorry. In 19th place. Skylar Loverick, 20th. Nikola Buzov in 21st. Kirstus Podins, 22nd place. Hanowitz in 23rd. Delubra, 24th. Down in 25th place is Joe McLaren. And Antonio Vidic in 26th place. Kevin Niles, 27th. Fernandez down in 28th place. Vajanovic in 29th. And rounding out the top 30 is Matt York. So continuing on, Remy Papin, 31st. Luboslawski. I do apologise. I have a whopping great ulcer on my tongue, making it quite hard to talk. There we go, 32nd place. Junior in 33rd. Kumpo in 34th. And rounding out the grid is Levent Ipek. So, all looking pretty tasty going into this one. Looking at the grid order, obviously, Toro Grosso running in 4th position in the championship, but is on pole position. But the track has dried for the race. Obviously, this is technically the Sunday, so the track has gone dry. So the times we saw in qualifying may not resonate into the race itself. Quite often you see that. Some people are more confident in the wets, but this might be quite exciting to see. He's probably going to see some of the big boys. I would imagine Aidan Walsingham is going to really come out the gate absolutely firing on all cylinders. He'll be wanting to try and get ahead of Eric Del Fante. I think this season, Aidan probably thought to himself, this is my season. There's no Luke the Ripper this season, taking a break off this summer. And he was probably thinking, that's it. This is my season after being the runner-up so many times. And then Eric Del Fante pretty much booted the door down and said, nope, it's mine. I'm having this championship. At the moment, leading by 26 points. 3 races to go, including this evening's race here at Valencia. It is going to be some tight stuff. So, formation lap just about to begin. Last chance for people to try and get heat into their tyres. Very soon they should be pulling away. Waiting for Toro Grosso on this one. There we go. Toro Grosso pulls away to begin the formation lap. Just hover over on the drone cam for a little bit. You see how many cars are out here at the circuit. The back of the grid hasn't even been able to get going yet, and cars are nearly all the way up to turn 2. It's an absolutely huge grid. They will obviously tighten up before the start of the race, but you get an idea of how far they are. Pretty much into turn 3 when the final car on the grid is actually able to get going. So sticking with the drone cam at the moment. Nice mixed sort of front row. I mean, there's 2 Hondas in 2nd and 3rd place, but we've got BMW, Honda, then Aston Martin, McLaren, then a couple of BMWs, then a triplet of cars. All McLarens there, so bit of a mix there. No Ferraris inside the top 10. Oh, and Lamborghinis as well. So sort of a few of these brands have been kind of pushed out ever so slightly. There we go. Just getting a little bit of info coming in there from Kiki Mac. Good evening, sir. Saying about Remy Papin, all the way down in 31st place. Apparently had no time to do any qualifying. I mean, any qualifying practice this evening. So that is why so far down. Remy Papin obviously 7th in the championship, but he's got a long way to come back. I think that's going to be a bit of a challenge, if I'm honest, to try and get that one back. But stranger things have happened, and stranger things will continue to happen here at Apex Online Racing. As before, brought to you by Driver61 and by our lovely patrons. If you want to get involved in the Patreon or in the Discord, do jump in to have a good look. All links to all things here are in the description below this video on stream. And also Driver61 there. Lots of good things to be happening. But for now, this is it. We have the final run to the line. For some reason, the camera's decided to zoom right in on the the first drivers. Let's see if we can get a better shot, actually. There we go. That's a nice one. Waiting for the lights to go green. Still red at the moment. Everyone is stacked right up. Soon the engine notes will rise and the lights go green. And that is it. It is the charge down towards lap 1. Strong start there. It looked like from Novikov, getting himself over to the left-hand side of the circuit. So he's on the inside for lap 1. But can't have a 71 of Delphante already pushing ahead. He's already taken the lead. They're all very wide, but luckily there's lots and lots of runoff here. Turn 1, fairly clean, and round goes car number 71, and that is almost certainly going to end in disaster, surely. Someone caught it. Car number 65, that is... Oh, car number 65 may have got into Delphante then. Who knows? Let's have a quick... We're going back. We have to go back and see, as that is our championship leader on turn 2. Had an incident. You can see on the side of the shot there. I think it was one of the it was one of the McLarens absolutely flying up. No, I mean, it's knotted. So that was Toro Grosso and the 72 car, all of them getting very close. Oh, and he gets clipped once very hard, and then gets really caught up there by car number 65. That's Matt York. Matt York did try and get on the brakes, but then was also hit from behind as well. So that did not go to plan how they would have wanted to. But back up at the front, Toro Grosso now leading the race. Alan Cruz in second place, Novikov third, Thomas fourth, and Valentine Barrier in fifth. All looking very tasty at the moment. This sort of top 5 cars have now broken away from the pack. Lots of people saying about the fact they looked a bit net, Cody. Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it was anyone necessarily truly at fault there. It just looked like it was all a bit packed. Lots and lots of battling going on further down the grid as well. Trying to work out exactly where that is. Cars coming into the pits. There we go, actually up the inside now. Car number 398. Luba Boslowski. But he might have gone a little bit too wide, and that's going to allow Vidic to get back up the inside for turn 2. Can't get it done all the way around the outside. Can he maintain that extra speed? I don't think he is. Vidic is going to have it here, but now it goes back to the Audi, and the Audi does just about squeeze. How on earth? The Aston is managing to hold on to that. Oh, and we just had a bit of a big old wobble. I'm not sure what happened there. Go back to Vidic. Nope, they're still racing side by side. Cameraman decided to go all over the place for some reason then. Ah, and there we go. Yeah, Delphante, after that lap 1 incident, has decided to go into the pits. I'm just trying to work out now. Car 113 is suddenly right back down the order, and I'm pretty sure that is Aidan Walsingham. I'm sure that's car number 113. It is. Aidan Walsingham suddenly finds himself right down the order. We're going to go back 30 seconds and see if we can catch it, and we're not far enough back. There's no way we can see it. Something happened earlier in the lap, and while we were keeping an eye on that side-by-side battle, Aidan dropped right off the pace and now finds himself all the way towards the back. I mean, oh, and we've got Audis coming and going there. That's a bit worrying that we've got Audis sort of appearing and disappearing. Hopefully that is not happening for anyone else. We've got Porsches rotating. We've got BMWs off the road as well. So that was all very all over the place. But now the battle for second place is heating up between Cruz and Novikov. Aston Martin versus BMW. Car number 212 we just saw as well with a yellow flag. 212 was fairly high up the order, I would have thought a moment ago. As it tumbles down the timing, it is eluding me as we speak. That was Junior. Oh no, Junior was further back, so no, apologies. That is just my brain losing its mind, as always. So at the moment, Alan Drake Cruz versus Novikov versus Thomas versus Barrier. This is the quartet of cars closely together. There's absolutely no missing that car of Thomas, is there? Such a bright pink livery. Absolutely fantastic. Lovely to see such strong colours. And here is the Honda of Barrier. Can he do something into turn 1? He's going to be right on the back of Thomas. Thomas not going defensive though, sticking to his main line. Who can get the better run? They're all going way wide on turn 1. And Barrier looks to the inside. Thomas gives him room. They nearly rub. Is it going to be another 3 corners of side-by-side action? Thomas has a chance to go back up the inside now. Does get it done on the inside. Squeezes Barrier out a little bit. Just making sure he can't go in, and reclaims the position. Thomas with some textbook driving there. Obviously feeling like he lost that position not through pace, but just through a bit of traffic in front of him in the situation that was Novikov. But now we have the Lentil. Oh, and again, big dive up the inside there for Barrier. Not his best work. Thomas furious about it, absolutely pushing hard to try and get by. He's obviously a bit annoyed that he was crowded out there. Van Thielen has managed to make his way through, but it now looks like Thomas and Barrier trying to do their best to get back past again. This is going to be the one to keep an eye on. They've got the Padawan as well, just behind Thomas. Jardier there as well. Nottins all stacking up behind him. Oh, and here we go. Jards looks down the inside and does get a move done out of the exit of turn 13. That is a big move into turn 14. Really nicely done. Going all the way to the left to go defensive. Nottins trying to get the advantage now. Still, Thomas going after the back of Van Thielen. What can he do? He is pressing against it. Just at the back of the shot there, you can see as well Jardier holding on to his position, but he is absolutely swamped. Too many cars to keep an eye on all at once at the moment. There's so many going on. They're 3 wide into turn 2. And that was a great drive there for Makowski, taking advantage of the squabbling and goes on through. The Aston's looking very strong here this evening. It is looking like these front-engined cars are looking like the stronger ones at the moment. Obviously, we've got the car of Valentine Barrier, who, you know, no one is going to discount that driver very, very fast. But at the moment, the BMWs and the Astons are looking like very strong contenders here at Valencia. A bit further back, now got Jonathan Clifford chasing after the back of the Padawan. He has Chris Warner as well there. This is kind of a 71 in amongst the mix. So that is Valentine Barrier. Not Valentine Barrier, I do apologise. That is, sorry, Del Fante, who technically is in 33rd place, but obviously is trying to make his way up through the order. But he's got to get past everyone and get past them again. And he's doing 132s, and to be fair, Alex Torregrossa up in pole position is doing 131s, 3 from everyone else, and so is Alan Drake Cruz as well. That young man is absolutely flying there. Again, now you can see Thomas looks up the inside, does get the move done, but it's now going to be contested again down towards turn 2. Moves across, trying to shut the door. He's going to have to leave it open a little bit. No, just about gets it done. Michael Thomas for Wild Things Racing. And it's giving Van Thielen an absolute bumper full of pink. And he's saying, no, thank you very much. This is my spot. I'm having it back. And he will almost certainly be immediately blinkers on, looking at the back of Barrier. He'll be giving it absolutely everything to catch back up with him. So he was kind of crowded out earlier on, and Barrier did manage to get the position, but not really sure there was any kind of penalty that could be put in place there. It was more of just sort of a bit of firm but fair racing, but I can only imagine that Michael Thomas is going to be absolutely gunning for him. Although, you know, from where we were, it looked fine. I imagine from his position, he was probably thinking that was a bit rude. Going to be pushing to try and make some kind of jump up. Let's have a quick jump on with Jacob Blizzard for the Sky Sim Sport cars. Car number 97, chasing off the back of Nottins, currently running in 10th place. He's just managing to hang on to the back of that 10th place at the moment. Nottins taking the fight back to Makowski just in front of him as well. And as they squabble, these two will close up and slow down. There you go, you can see in the front Makowski going defensive all the way to the left-hand side. Nottins does have the overlap into turn 1. Can he do it? This is where Blitz is going to be keeping an eye on it. He'll want these two to squabble hard. If they make a mistake, he'll be there to pounce. He's already looking on the attack. Trying to get the switch back through turn 2. He might just do it. I don't think it's quite going to come to him, but he is now fully on the back of Snottins. Snottins has gone from being on the attack to then suddenly being absolutely hounded. And in fact, it's both teams here as well. You can see it's Blizzard and the Padawan. The pair of them racing together. So they are teammates, so they won't be slowing each other down too much. You can see Del Fante, though, is making short work of everyone. He is making his way back up through the order, already putting pressure on the back of the number 12 car. So this is not a battle for position on track, but any time he can gain is going to be super, super important for him, and he's going to want to try and get past these guys, and they're starting to slow each other down a little bit now. Mikowski leading this pack, then Snottins, Blizzard, then the Padawan. Then there's a little bit of a gap further back. Obviously, we've got the car number 71 of Del Fante. He's not technically in this bit of the race. He is on a different lap to everyone else. And then we've got Jonathan Clifford and then Chris Warner. But this little battle going on up ahead. Jardier as well. I think this is one we need to keep a bit of an eye on. He's looking towards the back of Van Thielen. Obviously feeling like he is the stronger of the cars and can make his way through. Really lovely to see the way that Giardier's driving style has changed since he has been doing real life racing, obviously in the Clios, and I think he was in one of the, he was in a GT2 car, I believe, a couple of weeks back. I think it was the Expo, I believe, or Crossbow, whichever however you like to say it. Oh, there we go, GTX apparently, so there we go, yep. But that is some seriously fast bits of kit. Really lovely to see the way that Giardier's driving style in game or in simulation has changed after racing in real life, especially Clio Cup. Nothing gets your elbows out quite like Clio Cup. And I think you can definitely see it here this evening, the way he's applying pressure. We saw it earlier on in the season as well. I think we soon might have to change all the stickers that we have and different things where it's normally Jardier smiling. I think we might actually have to have a frowny face at some point for Jardier, because he definitely is looking like a very fast and determined driver this evening. Right, jumping back down the order a little bit more. We've got this little pack here. Lubolovsowski, Matt York, Vidic, Buzov, Vujanovic as well. Oh, and here we go. Buzov looking around the outside. Can he get it done? He's going to go for a switch back through turn 14. It'd be a good run if he can do it, and I think he is going to have a slight overlap. I'd imagine the Aston's probably going to have the legs in a straight line. And as the gap is opening, he is dipping in behind. Now the Aston of Vidic goes defensive, but into turn 1. No, can't quite do it. And through he goes. I just seen as well, yes, Ada Walsing up to 19th place. Doing a very good job of pushing forward. Let's have a quick jump on board with them, actually. In fact, no, we're going to ignore that and look a little bit further ahead. Skylar Loverink versus Podens. Big sweeping line there from Podens, trying to make sure he maintains as much speed as possible. Obviously, when he gets into a straight line, that is when the Mustang will have a little bit of an advantage, but he's going to be punching such a huge hole through the air with the front of that Mustang. That slippery Ferrari is going to be able to get in behind and get a decent old tow. And in places like these, like to corners like turn 13, that are going to be a real struggle for that Mustang. It's going to be struggling to keep the front end going in the right kind of place. A little bit slow on the exit there. It should be able to get a bit of a hustle on and go for it. Further up ahead, things are heating up. There's the battle going on here at the moment. This is for 6th position, and then slightly further back as well. This is even hotter. Car number 97 going up the inside of number 77. McLaren versus McLaren. They're side by side. It's going to come back, though, to Snottins. He is going to be able to hold on to it. And here comes car number 71. That's Del Fante making good effort up through. He's managed to break up the Sky cars. But understandably, Padawan is not giving up too easily. I mean, a good shout might be to try and hustle in behind him and sort of follow Eric Delfante forward. He's such a fast driver. I mean, he's dominating the championship at the moment, but this is not looking good. He is, however, not that far behind his... Well, no, sorry. He's... no, he is still far behind Ada Walsingham, but obviously has already completed his mandatory pit stop. So he will be hoping that it stays dry the whole way through and we don't see more rain. So, looking forward. Van Thielen versus Jards. Johnny looks to the inside. Well covered there by Van Thielen. Managed to get the car slowed down all the way across to the apex. Just closes off that advantage that Jardier had towards the exit of turn 13 into 14. Jards looks all the way to the inside for turn 1. He is going to have an overlap here. Gets on the brakes. Car number 214 just brings it across. Van Thielen doing an excellent job of defence here. You can see Jardier, the front of that car, skipping around absolutely on the limit of adhesion. Oh, Toro Grosso. Toro Grosso has just picked up a 20-second penalty. 25-second penalty, possibly even more. We're waiting for this one to appear in chat. That might have been for that lap 1, turn 2 incident that we saw. Right, yes, here we go. Inquiry, lap number 1, involving car number 65, 71, 72, 212, 214, 217, 256. 25-second time penalty for car number 217, and that is of Terra Grossa, and that is responsible for causing a moderately avoidable collision. So, car number 217 has decided. Well, that's it. They've got themselves a penalty. Car number 212 just, I think, teleported to the pits. And where was that gone? So that was Junior. Let's go back and just see what happened there. Let's hope the camera sorts itself out. Oh, so that is a lost it and ends up in the barrier. That's a big old bit of damage done to that car. So, yeah, obviously, understandably decided best bet was to just jump straight back to the pits at that time. But this does change up front quite significantly. Then now comes the point that once this time penalty comes in, Alan Drake Cruz is going to inherit first place. I mean, there's obviously a 2-second gap between first and second at the moment, but that is nothing compared to 25 seconds. So if Alan Drake Cruz can keep going as he is, this young gentleman, the BS competition, is going to find himself in pole position in Tier 1, and I imagine the adrenaline is already running. Oh, that's a good point. Someone has just pointed out the fact that Barrier and Thomas have changed positions. I'm not sure. Because, yeah, I couldn't tell you, to be brutally honest. But this one's going on, and Novikov is very much under attack from Thomas. Barrier doing his best to try and catch up at the back of him. And Thomas looking to the inside a little bit now. It's got to be a big old braking manoeuvre. No, decides to stick behind. Gets on the brakes hard. Swings it in. All these drivers going well wide through turn 1. I mean, the track limits there are pretty lenient. Still pushing on nicely. Thomas now really starting to apply the pressure to the back of Novikov. Barely anything between them, and it's only going to take a little bit of a mistake. And I think the two of them will strike. Thomas and Barrier immediately will be... Oh, a bit of a slide there from Thomas. Gets the back of the car unsettled. Barrier now looking to the outside. Can he get a better run? He's going to have a slightly better speed advantage. Thomas, for the first time in a long time, is now having to go defensive. Does manage to hold on to it, but possible cracks in the armour showing. About 20 minutes of this race done. And the tyres should not be in any way damaged. Oh, Thomas is coming in with a penalty as well now. It's the curse of the commentators. I'm going to have to move away. I'm going to have to move away from these people. Watch some others and find out what's going on. And the explanation for said penalties will be coming through very soon, I imagine. I was just looking here and I thought there was a really close battle, but it's not. That's car number 71 of Eric Delfante making his way up through, and essentially he has nearly got himself back onto the leading lap. After having to pit, he is nearly finding himself on the leading lap again, and I think that is some fairly ridiculously good going. Right, so that 5-second penalty, that was between car number 28, 77 and 97 on lap 1. 5-second penalty for car number 28. Michael Thomas receives a penalty for causing a minor avoidable collision. So there we go, Thomas picking up a penalty as well. 5 seconds. And after such absolutely blistering pace, that is, again, not what they would have wanted at all. Let's see if we can have a little look. There it is, over the rear wing of Bukowski. Looking back, it's Znotin's. This train of cars coming through. You've got Znotin's, Blizzard, and the Padawan all there. And then Jonathan Clifford in the purple Lamborghini just hovering around the back of these four as well. Gotta say, that Apex 1 Aston just sounds so good when it is absolutely flat out up the pit straight. Stretching out the gears, you can see the way it just pulls away from the McLaren a little bit. Through turn 1, look at the overspeed Nottin's had. Absolutely flying at this point. And into turn 2, has a look, gets up the inside. Makoski does give him space. They do rub a little bit. Don't know how pleased Makoski will be about that. He's probably thinking, hang on a second, I gave you room into turn 2 and then you push him out on turn 3. Oh, and you can just see in the back as well, Blizzard getting a little bit unsettled there. The car just snatched at him ever so slightly. It lost adhesion on the front tyres. Very, very nearly ended up under steering off, but he just managed to catch it. Obviously a big correction on the steering. Just about managed to hold that one together. Further back, we now have Van Veen being overtaken by Aidan Walsingham, recovering from the lap 1 incident. Car number 2 we have just seen with the yellow flag. And that was Joe McLaren, who I am unable to select. So for whatever reason they've gone. Matt York has picked up a drive-through penalty. And I believe that is going to be for in-game. That will be for track limits abuse. So Aidan Walsingham has dispatched Van Veen and is now continuing on forward. I mean, if anyone was going to be able to do it, it was probably going to be Aidan Walsingham, wasn't it? He's a very, very fast driver. So, nope, that's fine. I thought there was another penalty coming through, but there is not. Right, jumping in now. Back with this battle going on. So this is Jardier, currently being chased down by Eric Delfante. Again, Delfante is a lap down, so this is not for position. But you've got to imagine, if you're that far up the grid, someone like Jards, and then you're thinking to yourself, hang on a second, Delfante has already done his pit and he's back up behind me. That's some pretty scary stuff. That is just shows how quick Delfante is out there today. In fact, let's see what kind of lap times he's been putting in. Where are we looking? Delfante has been putting in 141.4s. And that is in comparison to Jardier's 132.1s. So, a fairly significant difference in lap times there. Right, pushing forward. Novikov comes into the pits. This is where it's all going to start getting a little bit shook up and changing all over the place. Let's have a quick jump back on board with our leader at the moment, which is Alex Torregrossa. Obviously carrying that 25-second penalty, so he is going to drop down the order. Then in second place, the young Alan Drake Cruz, car number 15. Another driver looking very fast out there this evening. Valentine Barrier currently running in third position. Jardier in fourth. Novikov, who is still in the pits at the moment, but then it is Van Thielen. Nottins as well, looking very, very quick. Has managed to break away a little bit from the Sky lads. He's managed to get away from them. So, Nikola Buzov, Sector Blitz Racing up to 15th place. And if I'm not mistaken, they start from quite far back on the grid. Looking very good, chasing after the back of Kumpo. Looks to the inside there, can't quite get it done, but showing the pressure. That's half of racing, is just being able to show the nose and make a little bit of an improvement and make a little bit of an effort when you can. The front of that Ferrari looking quite battered and scarred, to be fair. So I'll be surprised if Kumpo's Ferrari is handling as it should do. Another inquiry has come in between car number 13, 34, 38, 69, 524 and the 999 car. 20-second penalty for car number 5, 2, 4 and 3 licence points. That's Chris Vining, responsible for a moderate collision. So another car picking up a hefty penalty. One, here we go. Buzov looking to try and get a bit of an extra run here. Can he do anything? Dives into the pits. Obviously feeling like he's quicker on the road, but jumps in. So Michael Thomas, who has now completed his mandatory pit stop and has taken his time penalty, finds himself down in 19th place for the moment. Got a lot of cars in front of him still to pit, but the battle that he was having has almost certainly disappeared. Not many cars still out there. Jard still currently holding off Del Fante. Again, awkward position for Del Fante because he may feel like he is quicker. But Jard will not be getting blue flags. He has no reason to get out the way at all. He just needs to continue his race. He'd be daft to slow himself down too much with defence, but I don't think he really is. He's just going for outright pace. Oh, and Novikov, car number 369 as well, picking up a drive-through penalty. Another inquiry coming in between car number 16 and 38 on lap 2. 20-second penalty for Hanowitz for causing a collision. Oh, that's going to be a scary position to come out of the pits. Immediately into the line of fire of Jards. Just about holds it together. Does the right thing and moves over to the right-hand side there through turn 2. Those two drivers giving it absolutely everything. The last thing you want to do is get yourself caught up in that kind of lap battle. Right, going back a little bit further. So we have quite a little group of cars going on here. We've got Chris Warner, Blizzard, Mikowski, the Padawan. These cars have all pitted. It's going to be interesting to see how everyone looks after the dust has settled just a slight little bit. But again, the Blizzard cars sandwiching in Mikowski as we speak. Mikowski goes defensive, moves over to the left-hand side. He's going to have the inside for turn 1, but it is not the fastest line. The main racing line is out there on the right-hand side. Is he going to be running all the way around the outside? No, he can't. Although, to be fair, trying to get the switchback was the Padawan, and now goes to the outside. Jonathan Clifford now able to take advantage. Does get the nose of the bright purple Lamborghini up the inside. Not touching quite, but they're getting very, very close. And as well, Skylar Lovering now trying to go on the attack. I think there was almost a touch there between Clifford and Lovering. Valentine Barrier into the pits, Jardier into the pits, and Walsingham into the pits as well. It'll be very interesting to see where Walsingham comes out after this pit stop. There's been a bit of a shake-up. Oh, and Vidic picks up a stop-go 30. That'll be for speeding in the pit lane. So that is an automatically applied penalty. And it's pretty much the worst one you can get here in the game. Stop-go 30. That is absolutely savage. So Alan Drake Cruz now finds himself surrounded by quite a bit of traffic. None of these are for position, but look, Torregrossa is not far up the road. He is only just there. That is really close, just on pace alone. Cruz really applying the pressure to Torregrossa, and it has to be said, oh, there you go, Torregrossa comes in, and so does Alan Drake Cruz. This is going to be the big one. Realistically, we're obviously going to, I mean, the position is going to change. Cruz is definitely going to get past Torregrossa. So it's going to be a case of looking on circuit, where is Valentine Barrier? Because he was up there having a bit of a battle. Thomas is managing to hold on fairly nicely. But say, Barrier and Thomas, these two have completed their pit stops. Oh, another penalty coming in. Chris Vining. Oh no, sorry, that was the one we've already read, I think. Or have I not read that one? Oh, thought I had read that one, but no, we haven't. Chris Vining for causing a moderately avoidable collision. Can't get my words out. 30-second penalty. So where is Cruz? Cruz is rolling. We're going to the drone cam. That's it, foot to the floor. How is it going? And he is going to come out in front with quite a decent way back as well. He's going to have to get them tyres up to temperature. And there we go. He is now out. Alan Drake Cruz is leading the second half of this race. Pace alone, he was looking very quick. Torregrossa, obviously, with that penalty, now finds himself just coming out the pits. Oh, Carnival 77 and Znottins. We've just seen a yellow flag come out for that driver. Going back now. So that was after leaving the pits. What happened there? Leaves the pits. Worst camera angle of all time. There we go. So leaves the pits. Trying to get himself up to pace. He's on the outside. Finds himself out wide. And then what happens here? Bit of crowding. Oh, and just nails the side of one of the Sky. I think that might have been Blizzard, but it nails the side of one of the Sky cars. That was certainly a slightly obscure line, and I think that was Blizzard that took that beating. I'm trying to get a bit of a look at the sides of the cars as they come by, just so we can see the damage. Yeah, pretty sure it was that number 97 car. So, not sure what happened there, but that was a fairly big old hit that happened then. I imagine that McLaren, or both the McLarens, are now not really feeling as they should. Blizzard would be upset about that, running in 9th place at the moment, and he probably would have preferred not to have a whacking great dent in the side of his car. So you're going to be interested to see how this affects everybody. We've got now Aidan Walsing up into 3rd place overall. He's doing very nicely. Van Veen and Torregrossa, that was what can only be described as absolute madness. Is that Torregrossa? No, it's not. It's one of the other drivers. Car number 217. Oh, it is Torregrossa. Good lord, that was proper sort of edge of the seat stuff. That was some pretty wily stuff. Torregrossa obviously thinking, hang on, I know on pace I'm much quicker than you, I want to get going, but still, good lord, nearly threw the entire race away, the pair of them there. That was very close stuff. Right, back onto this one, Blizzard versus the Padawan. They are teammates for Sky Sim Sport, but They will still be battling, but they have to be aware that they have got Aidan Walsingham coming up behind them. And he will be trying to do anything he can. Oh, here we go. More stuff going in. Valentine Barrier, who's up into second place, now finds himself with a 5-second penalty. And that is between car number 28 and 72 on lap 4. 5-second penalty. Barrier's to blame for causing an incident. And again, I think... so car number 28 and 72. So that was Michael Thomas. That was when we saw him get that sort of big old nudge. So, bit of redemption for Michael Thomas coming back after his penalty as well. Barrier is going to be taking a 5-second penalty to the line. So, it's some crazy old stuff going on this evening. Going to come out and say it though. Chris Warner running in 6th place. Big shout out to that driver, getting that Mercedes that far up the grid. Chris Warner having the race of a lifetime here at the moment. He's got behind him, he's got Mikowski behind him, then Blizzard, then the Padawan, and then Aidan Walsingham, who currently is setting the fastest laps at the moment. He's the only driver into the 130s, a 130.925, so just gets himself inside the 130s. But what a drive this is for Chris Warner. Absolutely fantastic drive. Having a little look at the old championship to see where Chris Warner was in the championship. Chris Warner, his best finish so far has been an 11th place. So what an absolutely fantastic race this is at the moment, running in 6th place. Yes, he's got big names behind him, but battling out this high up the order is seriously good going. Oh, apparently something went on with car number... Oh, and we missed it. So Delubra, something happened and he ended up back in the pits, but for whatever reason it was too far back on the replay to get it. So not sure what happened there. So for the moment, Chris Warner holding off the attack of Mikowski. He's going to become a little bit of a cork in a bottle, I fear, though. Waiting for the cameras to catch back up to live timing, and there they go. Oh, and the position has changed. Chris Warner has lost the spot, and with that has lost 2 spots, and he's now being crowded by lots and lots of McLarens. He's got Aidan Walsingham, and he's got Padawan right there. Aidan Walsingham, oh, goes a bit deep. Catches the back of Chris Warner. Very, very close. Nearly made a mistake. He managed to hold on to the brakes and keep going. He is now back on the attack. Gains another position over car number 72. Wait, was that car number 72? I don't think it was 72. It was not car number 72. I'm losing my mind. Car number 12. Close to car number 72. They're very similar. A 1 and a 7. But now, Aidan Walsingham is on the back of Chris Warner. What can he do? It's going to be very close. Apparently, Jards is all fired up, letting the chat letting us know. I mean, he's going to be wanting to push hard forward because he can gain a position over Barrier if he can get himself close enough. There's a bit of a distance between them. Michael Thomas has done very well to have that penalty and still hold on to 3rd place at the moment. Very impressed with that little bit of driving. Mikowski versus Blizzard. This is a nice one, heating up. Blizzard taking the fight back to Mikowski. They've kind of been swapping and changing as they've been going. Another one here as well. Aidan Walsingham really is mobbing the back of Chris Warner. And he do anything down here. I'm not sure he's going to be able to try and make a move on this corner. Not quite, but he is crowding to the inside, trying to see what he can do. He's just applying pressure, trying to get a mistake out of Chris Warner. All the while, he's having to battle with car number 12 as well. Padawan giving a proper fair fight and not giving up. He wants to try and possibly follow Aidan through, I would imagine. Can we do anything here through the long left-hander of turn 13? Somehow, that Mercedes is managing to sort of outpace everyone on that corner, although Aiden gets right up behind him with the brakes. Walsingham is going to be pushing really hard now. He's going to be very, very close to the back of Chris Warner's car. In fact, let's jump on board. Sorry, everyone's ears at home. Here they go. And he does push through, and there we go. Gets it done on the exit of turn 1. He's up the inside for turn 2. They're still running side by side, keeping each other honest. Aiden is going to still be there. Can he outbrake Chris Warner? Don't think he can. No. Chris holding to the inside. There's a little bit of a rub. And another little rub. And Padawan now looking to the inside, trying to take advantage of this. The two of them, it was more a bit of trading paint, a bit of hard racing. There wasn't too much sort of anyone really to blame there, anything too vicious, but through goes Aiden Walsingham. He does get it done. Chris Warner does finally lose the position, but fair play. After holding that together, he really did do an absolutely stellar job of defence against one of the fastest drives, car number 52. We've just seen car number 52 with the yellow flag, and that is Skylar Lovering. We're going back, see if we can spot what happens. Side by side with car number 115. Then he's got the 217 BMW right behind him as well. Is it just a little bit of crowding? What happens? There was definitely a yellow flag. Oh, and he just gets tagged and rotated, and round he goes. Just manages to keep it out the barriers. And you saw that absolute planting of the throttle. Better play. Just about manages to keep it out of danger. Very, very nicely done. Eric Delfante coming through now. Gets past car number 66. Moves up into 21st position. Couple more racing incidents being reported, but no further action being taken, which is always good to see. Dropping back a little bit further down. Oh, we just drop in as Vidic. No, sorry, not Vidic. Well, it was showing Matt York in a bit of a battle with a Ferrari. And I don't know if that was Kumpo or not. I think it might have been Kumpo, actually. Yeah, but wasn't quite able to keep the back of the car going where they needed it to. Right, someone we haven't had on track, on screen yet this evening is Giardinetto. And they've got Van Veen right behind them. Car number 115. This is the... We saw them get together earlier on. Oh, the Padawan! After such good, hard racing... suddenly finds himself way, way down the order. Just seeing somebody say, yeah, Chris Vining with plus 50-second penalty. I would have to look back through, but I think he picked up multiple penalties, Chris Vining. Oh, here we go, Giardinetto versus Van Veen. Van Veen does look to the inside, can't get it done under braking. The GRX McLaren just that little bit better on the brakes, managed to hold on to it. Battles all throughout this circuit. It's been absolutely fantastic racing so far. In fact, we're going to jump up nearer the front. That's Valentine Barrier. Oh, well, it was showing him having a close battle, but it's not. That's just the timing board doing its usually wobbly thing. Let's have a quick jump on board with our pole driver at the moment. Alan Drake Cruz running in pole position, followed by Valentine Barrier, but he is carrying a 5-second penalty. So as long as Cruz can keep Barrier behind or stay within 5 seconds of him, still a decent position to be gained here. Further back, Michael Thomas, Giardier on a real charge. Being very nicely planted in that car, and in fact he is another driver that has broken into the 130s. So still pushing on nicely there at the moment. Little battle going on. We've got Mikowski of the Apex 1 car versus 97. That's Blizzard. And then Aidan Walsingham behind them. This trio of cars applying pressure, constantly going for it. But let's see if we can spot this from on the dashboard of Aidan Walsingham, second in the championship at the moment, down in 8th place. And he'll be doing everything he can to try and get past Blizzard and Mikowski. And he does look to the inside, everyone keeping him honest, but there's a decent run. Does just about get him up to the outside. He's going to be on the... Now he's on the outside here. Can he do anything? Through turn 11, it's very difficult. They're giving each other room, but he does lose the position again. Can he outbrake them into turn 12? He's going to be very brave if he's going to try and do it. Sparks all over the windscreen as the car of Mikowski bottoms out in front of him. And he lost a little bit of ground there as he goes through turn 13. Super late on the brakes. Swings it into turn 14. Can he do anything here? Through turn 1. No real advantage showing here at the moment. Does close up under braking quite significantly. Mikowski becoming a little bit of a cork in the bottle, I think. These two McLarens looking very racy. Blizzard doing a fantastic job of holding his own, not going too defensive. He knows as soon as he goes defensive, he'll go slow. So he's just trying to maintain the pace, only going defensive when he needs to, but he does leave the door open on the inside. Aidan looks not quite enough of an overlap and has to carry on and let the 97 of Blizzard go through. Obviously feels like over the space of a lap he is quicker. But it's one thing catching, it is another thing passing. But at the moment, it's like a spaniel after a pheasant, desperately sniffing around the back, chasing and nipping at the heels of the car number 97, but just not quite able to make it work. Little battle going on here. Skylar Loverink versus Kirsten's Podens. Loverink doing everything they can to try and catch up to the back of that thundering Mustang, but just not sure they're quite able to close the gap right up. Buzov has just got past Remy Papin. We'll see if we can jump back 10 seconds to spot that one. So that's all the way through turn 13. Gets it done. Manages to close the nose off. Slows the car down on the apex just enough. So for now, Remy Papin is passed by Buzov and continuing to go forwards. Hanowitz now battling it out with the Padawan in the background of this shot. So back up with our leaders for a brief moment. Alan Drake Cruz still running strong, holding off Valentine Barrier, and then Michael Thomas coming along, and Michael Thomas is nearly close enough to gain the position. He's 0.1 of a second away from gaining the position with that 5-second penalty. Oh, apparently Aidan has finally got the job done. Yes, he has. Aidan has gone through. So as you can see, Buzov has managed to pull away and has opened up the gap in the background of this shot, we've obviously got Hanowitz versus the Padawan. There's a 5-second penalty in place, though. So even if they can hold on to a position on track, it will not matter once they have left the circuit. The time penalties will come rolling in. Fernandez versus the back of Loverink now. Now, we thought Loverink was going to possibly keep the fight going with Podence, but he hasn't been able to. And now Fernandez really starting to apply some pressure. Can he do anything here, though, to try and get past? Going down through turns 10 and 11 as we speak. Fernandez is looking like the racier of these two cars. The BMW is looking very, very strong here this evening. Just under 10 minutes left of the race left to go. Oh, and yeah, Aston Martin comes in. And that was that lovely soft pink one we were saying about earlier on. Oh, here we go. Fernandez trying to go around the outside at turn 1. Ends up washing out very wide. Loses a load of speed. They got Del Fante coming up behind them as well. Del Fante just not been able to gain the positions like he hoped he'd be able to. Still down in 18th place. He's going to have battling cars in front of him as well. It's going to be difficult to get past them. Kowski versus Blizzard. Connor 11 versus 97. Apex 1 versus, I believe it's Sky Simsport. The two of these, they've been putting in some fantastic racing and fighting the entire way through. And they really haven't let Walsingham get that far away. He's well within range. Thomas is so close to gaining second place. He just needs to try and get a little bit more pace. In comes Matt York into the pits. Blizzard looking racy. Just trying to maybe do a little bit of a switch back there. Just starting to show his nose. See if he can't unsettle Mikowski just that little bit. Going to take some serious doing. Mikowski is by no means a rookie. He knows what he is doing. He's been racing with us a fair old while. Further back down the order, Znottins versus Torregrossa. This one heating up. Chris Warner has managed to break away from this little pack a little bit. And Jonathan Clifford, who was very much a star in Tier 2, just not having the season he would have wanted in Tier 1. Definitely one of those drivers that when it goes his way, he could be well up there. But finds himself running in 12th place at the moment. Torregrossa in 10th. And he will be looking to try and improve, but I don't think Znottins is going to let him get away that easily. So we could have had mixed conditions here, but as it turns out, the track ended up staying pretty dry. 6.5 minutes left of the race to go. And Drake Cruz still winning at the moment. He is now starting to get Barrier sniffing around the back of him. Barrier was significantly quicker last time round. But as we said, as long as Cruz can stay within 5 seconds of Barrier, then he can still bring home first place, which I think will be his first pole position here with Apex Online Racing. And I mean, and what a race to do it on. He's really put in the effort, kept his nose clean through turns 1 and 2 on lap 1 when it was all a bit hairy. And has kept his nose clean this entire time. As long as he can just hold it together, the pressure of having someone like Valentine Barrier up behind you is absolutely insane. I don't imagine he can even feel his hands at the moment. 5.5 minutes left of the race to go. He's not going defensive. He's just going to keep the pace going. If he's smart about this, if he really feels the pressure, almost let barrier go through rather than risk something else happening. Super, super wide there. Turn 1. Let's get a decent run, though, into turn 2. Nicely held together. Gonna jump back a little bit. This one still going on. Makowski versus Blizzard. And down the main straight, you can just see the Apex 1 car just a little bit stronger in a straight line, but this is where the McLaren starts to come back. Valencia, one of those circuits where you, even if you do then manage to get up down the inside of someone, suddenly you're met by the fact that the circuit goes the other way almost immediately afterwards. There's no real opportunity to get the pass done quickly. You have to be committed and see if you can then hold it out through a couple of corners, as you know the driver is going to come back at you almost immediately as you go from having the racing line to suddenly being off the racing line. Still pushing on. Alan Drake Cruz now finds himself being absolutely hounded by Valentine Barrier. Incredibly, incredibly close. There is nothing between them. And it's a whopping 6.6 seconds back to Thomas. So as they cross the line at the moment, even with the penalty, Barrier should still hold on to second position. Now, obviously, as we have said, Cruz doesn't technically need to hold him off, but he wants to win it on the road, and by all means, fair play. And at the moment, he is pushing as if Barrier does not have a penalty. He is pushing and giving it absolutely everything he's got. 11 tenths from both these drivers. And it has just been a fantastic display of racecraft and consistency from Cruz this evening. Yes, we've seen some big comeback drives from other people. Aidan Walsingham, one of them, that we've seen come up through the order pretty quickly. But it's got to give it to Cruz. He's done such a fantastic job. 2.5 minutes left of racing left to go. Another penalty coming in, 45-second penalty. And that is for car number 256, and that's for Nico Kumpo. Makes a reactive move on car number 16 on the straight, then does not hold the brakes and takes out car number 16. They receive a penalty, so yeah, not what they would have wanted. And yeah, seeing it in the chat, people saying about Del Fante's tyres. Yeah, obviously had to pit with that damage and didn't want to pit twice, but yeah, Del Fante's tyres are what can only be described as done at this point. They are absolutely cooked. He is currently running down in 16th place, which is not what the championship leader would have wanted. 1 minute and 40 seconds left of the race to go. Alan Cruz doing his absolute best to keep Barrier behind him. He's not slowing either. He's not driving overly defensive. He's just doing some real clever car positioning. Valentine Barrier not able to get through and gain the position as of yet. Say Barrier still holding that 5-second penalty. So realistically, even if he gets through now, after the penalties have come in, it doesn't matter. But Alan Drake Cruz will want to win this on the road, and what a drive it has been. Minute left to go. There we go, and Alan Racing in the chat. Lots of panic, sweaty faces going on there. The team cheering him on. I believe that's actually Alan's dad. So, good evening. Welcome to the chat. We're sticking with this battle all the way to the end. It's got to be said, there are some other little squabbles going on, but we're sticking with this one. I think everyone that is a fan of racing in any kind, whether it be sim racing, real life racing, these are the battles that we love to watch. With only half a lap left to go, Valentine Barrier breathing down his neck. Honestly, this is like staying cool with a dragon breathing down your neck. It is absolutely intense, the pressure that would be there. Oh, penalty coming through for Snottin, down in 11th place, kind of a 77. Only a few corners left to go now. Down through turn 10, into 11. In-mouth stuff for the moment for Alan Drake Cruz. Gets through turn 12 nicely, holds it together, gets a decent run through 13, gives himself a little bit of a gap back. Barry's going to have to try and do something absolutely bonkers here through turn 14 to try and get it done, but there's no way it is going to happen. Alan Drake Cruz absolutely thunders towards the line. The checkered flag is out, and there we go, a wiggle of the steering wheel. What an absolutely fantastic race it has been for Alan Drake Cruz. What can only be described as a little bit of a fairy tale drive for him. Michael Thomas coming across the line in 3rd place, and then Jardier coming across the line in 4th. We're going to stick with Alan Drake Cruz because I think it was a fair few seasons ago. I had this young man, I believe it was in Tier 2, and he came in, and it must have been at least a year, must have been a year ago. He came in, so it was lovely to speak with his dad about it all. Really nice young lad coming into racing, and a fantastic 1st place in Tier 1, Season 16 here at Valencia, and what a race. Absolutely fantastic stuff the whole way back. Apologies that we've kind of stuck on board for a little bit towards the end, just with the same driver, but it's got to be said, it was some fantastic stuff. Most people now coming across the line. Not many people left to go. Penalties coming in towards the end of the race. Luckily not affecting the top of the list. I hope so anyway. After we've just said who's come across the line in what order. So, Alan Drake Cruz comes home in 1st place. Valentine Barrier in 2nd. Michael Thomas in 3rd. It has been an absolutely brilliant race. Let's go to the timetable. So there we go. So we will go through the full order. I think there's still... are there still penalties coming in? No, penalties are all in now for the race time anyway. And there might be some things that get put into the Discord later in the day, but who knows? Right, but for now, Alan Drake Cruz with his maiden victory in Tier 1, absolutely fantastic, comes home in pole position, followed by Valentine Barrier, then Michael Thomas, Jardier in 4th, Van Thielen 5th, Walsingham in 6th, Makowski 7th, Blizzard 8th, Chris Warner 9th, and Torek Grosser 10th. Jonathan Clifford 11th, Novikov down in 12th place, Nottins 13th, Podins 14th, Delfante 15th, Kevin Niles 16th place, Buzov in 17th, Padawan in 18th, Loverink 19th, 20th place, Fernandez continuing on down the order. Jarzaneto 21st, Remy Papin 22nd, Lubolosowski in 23rd, Hanowitz 24th, Van Veen 25th, Vajanovic in 26th, Matt York 27th, Kumpo in 28th, Vidic 29th, Delubra 30th, Vining 31st, McLaren 32nd, Junior 33rd, Josh Waring in 34th, and 35th is IPEC. Whew, big old breath there for everyone. Let's quickly have a little change up of what we're looking at, because it's absolutely rubbish to look at that for now. Let's move across to a much nicer looking bit of imagery. Hide that one. There we go. Right, and we do have people waiting to have a chinwag. Who have we got? I'm going to vote. That is Drake Cruz. I think, annoyingly, I'm only seeing a very small amount of the name. Let's bring them in.
Hello.
Good. Hello. Am I right in thinking I'm speaking with Alan Drake Cruz?
Yes, it's me.
I mean,
Oh,
I've been
Wow.
saying this whole race about the fact that you're a young man, and I need to just let everyone know. How old are you, sir?
I just turned 12 recently.
There we go. This young gentleman has just turned 12, and you have just absolutely smashed it in Tier 1 Apex Online
Oh,
Racing. I imagine you are bouncing around the room right now.
I'm just sitting in my chair because I'm just so surprised. Like, I wouldn't expect to win. I was only aiming for a podium. And then in the middle of the race, at least at the 26-minute mark, there was like a big lag, and I really thought it was over. But apparently it happened to everyone, so I'm pretty lucky.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, I
I'm
think
just
there was a lot going on in this race tonight. There was penalties sort of left and right. You did a really good job of keeping your nose clean all through that first lap when it was all a bit hickledy pickledy for everybody. And then when it came to the end of the race, holding your own against Valentine Barrier. I mean, that is stressful for anyone. Let alone just a young lad like yourself. But I mean, absolutely fantastic race. I imagine your dad, who I
oh,
know I've spoke to before, is absolutely ecstatic for you as well. I mean,
yeah.
that definitely gets us, a bottle of cola on a school night. I think a late night on a school night. I think that's what you probably get for that one. I know it's summer holidays, but yeah, that is
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, and I just want to thank everyone who's helped me, like Next Level Racing, BS Competition, who got me this monitor, which put me in contention in the first place. And especially Nails, of course. He has helped me throughout the last few weeks and telling me what techniques to do through the corners. And of course, my parents and my dad, mom, and my little brother for not distracting me. And yeah, yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm just so happy. I did my first race here like 2 seasons ago, and then can't believe I won here today.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely fantastic. I like say I think everyone at home was cheering you on, especially in that last sort of 20 minutes of the race. I think
That's me.
everyone was cheering you on. So yeah, it's absolutely amazing race, mate. And yeah, I think is that your first pole position with Apex Online Racing?
What do you mean? I was in P6 actually. I qualified.
No, no, I mean sorry, in the race. I think that's the first. Is that the first time you finished in pole position?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. This is
yeah.
the first time. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah.
wasn't sure because I remember I think it was tier 2. I remember you were in that season for a little while. I remember chatting with your dad and stuff back then as well. But yeah, absolutely amazing, mate. I think massive round of applause has to go to you this evening. We are gonna have to call the interview in a minute because I've got Michael Thomas and
Yeah,
Valentine
yeah, yeah.
Barrier as well. So I do have to have a quick chat work with them. But yeah, thank you ever so much for joining us in the
Thank you
booth.
so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
It's
Thank
been
you
a
so much,
pleasure.
sir.
No worries
Oh,
at all. Been an absolute pleasure talking with you.
okay.
Night,
Thank you so
mate.
much. Oh, I
No
can't
worries.
think.
We'll speak to you later.
Oh, I'll
Cheers.
speak to you later. Bye bye. Cheers.
And so that was Alan Drake Cruz, a very, very fast young man. I mean, absolutely fantastic to have a chin wag with him. Right, let's bring in who was it? It was Valentine Barrier came across the line in second, so we'll grab him in. Valentine, talk us through it, mate. It all got a bit higgledy pickledy, and then even with a penalty, you managed to bring it home in second place. So talk us through it.
Yes, hello. Well, indeed, lap one, turn two got a bit hairy. I had to avoid the incidents between Terra Grossa and Del Fante. So I had to go wide all the way around the outside on the runoff of turn two. So that costed me like 4 places or something like that. So I was P5. Then I was getting a bit over ambitious with Sens to try and overtake Michael Thomas, and one of which was too much, and that was definitely way over ambitious. I had a contact with him. It was pretty bad. Uh, got a penalty for it. Mm, I let him back through actually. I realized he had some pace. Let him back through a bit later in the first stint. Followed him. He also got a 5-second penalty. But luckily he had it in the first stint and I had it in the second, so I was able to put a gap in the second stint with better pace. And yeah, I was able to keep P2 that way by just being more than 5 seconds in front.
Yeah, I mean it was super close at one point. It was I think it was down to 5.1. I think is as close as it got. We were sort of thinking is Thomas going to take it away, and then you just sort of towards the end of the session, you just found a load more pace, and you went from sort of being worried about losing second place to suddenly going after first place on the road. And say we just spoke with Alan Drake Cruz just a moment ago, the young driver, and yeah, I think fair play for him for managing to hold off you, to be honest, because
Yeah.
when you see, I think anyone that sees, oh, there's a car right in my mirrors, and then they see in their heads up display that it is you, Valentine Barrier, I think most drivers would get a bit of a sweat on and be a bit panicked then. I mean, Lord forbid, I know I'd panic. I'd probably just pull off to the side and let you go through. So yeah, I mean, it was a great race from you. It's been, to be fair, there was action all over the place. I say, man, luckily, after sort of that, the lap 1, lap 2 kind of argy-bargy that there was kind of in places, and obviously that little incident you had with Thomas as well. I mean, it did all come back together. I mean, I think we did catch that slightly elbows out move you did on Thomas. We did catch that one just slightly, but again, it just looked like pretty hard racing from our spot in the booth. But obviously, yeah. But I mean, the pair of you ended up with penalties, so I mean, kind of no track loss between either of you in the end.
Yeah.
But anyone you want to give a quick shout out to, Valentine?
Shout out to Honda for being very quick with a favorable BOP. We can say it that way.
Yeah, I mean, looking at it, yeah, it was a significant amount of weight taken off of that car. Was it minus 24
Yeah,
kilograms at the
something like
moment?
that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
obviously with that wet qualifying, I imagine you were probably thinking, fantastic, here we go. Because if the race had been wet, we know how well the Honda goes in the wet. So were you hoping it was
Yeah.
going to be wet for the race as well?
Only if it would have been like very, very wet, so that the wet tires would not overheat. Because if it would have been only light rain, the wet tires would have been overheating, and then it would have been actually quite of a bad situation.
Okay, so you needed it to be pretty much monsoon level weather for the Honda to actually feel good in the wet.
Yeah, pretty much like good medium rain.
Well, we'll have to see how it goes on for next time. I'm trying to think where we are next.
Laguna Seca, I
It
think.
is Laguna Seca. So hopefully no rain at Laguna Seca. I'd like to think it's dry there. No one likes wet sand. So
Yeah.
hopefully it stays dry. Right, thank you, Valentine. I'm going to have a chat with Michael Thomas. He's very patiently waited this entire time. So thank you very much for joining us, mate, and
Right.
congratulations on the second place.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Michael Thomas, welcome to the booth. It was a hard-fought race the entire way through. At one point, we thought you were going to get second place back off a barrier, but managed to bring it home in third place in the end. Talk us through sort of those first couple of laps, and then the little incident that happened between you and Valentine as well.
Yeah, it was just crazy. Just trying to stay clean, and also keep the pace up when you've got Vale behind you. Yeah, it's not easy. And then I was just speaking to Vale before, and he said, "Yeah, I thought I had the pace on you," and then he sent it like he killed us both. And then he realized that I actually had a bit of pace, and I would say allowed me to go back through when I went for the move. So yeah, it turned out quite all right.
Yeah, he did say in the interview a minute ago that he sort of let you have the position back. But I was sort of thinking to myself, I don't remember seeing that quite that obviously on the stream when we were watching it. It definitely seemed more, the two of you still squabbled it out pretty well. But I think you guys were side by side for what basically felt like an entire lap at one point.
Oh yeah, I don't even really remember. It was just such a blur. Just trying to concentrate, not get track limits, not trying to touch the car next to you, not trying to spin up the rear tires of the Beamer and kill them, which eventually happened in the first stint. There was so many, yeah, awareness a million from both of us.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the BMW went pretty well here this evening. I mean, in qualifying, it looked like it was really quite a dominant car here in the wet. And then, because let's have a double check of this qualifying. Why has that gone wrong? Because you were obviously down in 7th place in qualifying. So really nice finish for you in the end, actually, coming home in 3rd place. At one point, it looked like you were going to get 2nd, and then suddenly out of nowhere, sort of Valentine Barrier, someone managed to find some pace that just no one really knew where it came from. And suddenly he went from being pressured from you to suddenly applying a load of pressure to Alan Drake Cruz. So it was
It was the early box for me. Just kind of, it was so necessary. But then towards that kind of latter stage, I had absolutely nothing left to give. It was just trying to stay consistent, keep Jardier at arm's length. But yeah, Valle was so fast. He was super fast in the Honda. He could have won, but obviously he was very clever with having a 5-second penalty to sit behind. So yeah, GG to him and Alan as well, young man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you heard the interview, but yeah, he's only just turned 12. So to already be that fast at that age, it's like somebody get that young man in behind a real life racing wheel, because that is some very quick stuff. So is there anyone you want to give a quick shout out to, Michael, before we call it a day?
Thank you to you for your amazing commentary every week.
Thank you very much, mate. Appreciate it. As you can already hear, mid-season voice is already broken. Doing it again tomorrow night, so it'll be even more trashed by then. But yeah, we love it. But no, thank you ever so much, mate. It's fantastic that there's such good racing to commentate on. There's nothing worse than boring or rubbish racing to commentate on. But no, every single week, all the tier 1 guys and all the tier 2 guys always put on a fantastic, close and reasonably clean race every single time. We just won't talk about Hungaroring or anything like that. It's fine, we just won't talk about those, but that's absolutely fine. But yeah, no, amazing, mate. Thank you ever so much. Put a big old smile on my face, and yeah, we will hopefully get to speak to you next week.
Hopefully. See you later.
See you later. Right, that is it for us here this evening at Apex Online Racing. This has been brought to you by Driver61 and by our patrons. Jump into the description below this stream, or if you're watching it back on demand, it is all there. Have a quick look and jump in. If you want to become a patron, absolutely fantastic. If not, maybe just check out Driver61, see what they have to offer. Lots of driver coaching, setups and bits and pieces. Get you even faster, make you get into tier 1 possibly. Right, thank you ever so much, everyone, and good evening.